to 9 BBC One Northern Ireland. Before Imagine and later than originally planned, let's head back to the Crimewatch studio.
Well, the Crimewatch update. It's been a remarkably quiet night, but we have had some intriguing information on at least some of the cases, and 25 callers have called in about the first one. Our first appeal about 2 weeks ago, Nisha Patel Nasri was stabbed on her own doorstep in Wembley in North London by a man who may have used her own kitchen knife to kill her.
Help me! Help me! I need help! Help!
I'm her husband, please, what happened?
We're trying to bring her back to life.
I'm not sure they She's not breathing for us at the moment, so we're breathing for her. We're doing all we can.
We're looking for a knife very much like this one, which is still missing, but also, Julie, you were telling us about some keys that have gone missing from her house with this distinctive one, tartan one, Chubb one as well.
Absolutely. We know that they went missing around about 3 weeks prior to the murder, and obviously where those keys now is pivotal in
and we know there were other attempts at burglary on the house, and two guys in particular were trying to find one about 5'10", was probably the killer.
He's the one that ran off in a hooded top and we believe was black. The second one walked off in the opposite direction towards Rugby Avenue.
Two hoodies, and you were also trying to find several cars, one of which in particular was an R-registered Rover, perhaps a newer body shape that we show, we're not sure, but which had dark plastic sort of film peeling off one of the windows.
Absolutely. It's the type of thing that we put on so that people can't see easily into a vehicle. It's that type of film.
And Nisha would have spouted a lot of blood, an awful way that she died. Possibly one of the guys would have got blood on him.
Yeah, somebody out there knows somebody who's done this. I need that person to come forward and tell us.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, no amount of justice can bring back someone who's been murdered, but if you ever doubted the importance of catching the killer for the nearest and dearest, just listen to the mother of Christopher Alan Amy.
My boy is lying there in the mortuary, and they're out there going about, living.
John, she's devastated. Obviously, she's devastated. And this was in the High Street in Sheerness. And you showed some CCTV in the programme of witnesses you're trying to get hold of, and you had a pretty good response, haven't you?
A lady, excuse me, a lady has phoned in who we believe is our blonde lady in the CCTV.
And there we are, we're seeing her there, so she rang in, so that's a fantastic result.
She's phoned into the studio, and also we think we've identified two of the lads who were with the police officers just after the incident.
And they're the ones in the stripy top and the one next to him there. And the key thing about this, there were people around in there. There were a lot of people around, even though it was very late. And you wanted to hear from those people, so you've got information on three.
Absolutely.
That's great, thanks very much.
The life amnesty comes into effect from midnight tonight right across the United Kingdom. A pity wasn't enforced some time ago. A pity it didn't stop an attacker in Salford. There were two separate attacks, one in November, one in December. The guy used not one but two knives in one of the attacks, but we've got some really, really good calls. In fact, over 30 people have rung in on this one. The attacks happened around Swinton in Salford, and we think within about 1.5 miles of Victoria Park is where the guy with a knife was living. Now, we've had an extraordinary call from someone who says there was a guy living in the park. The caller knows that person. Can I say to that caller, the officer guarantees your name will never come out. Please, please ring us again. And could we appeal to the guy who was driving the white van, who saved one of the victims and then drove her home? A bit of a hero. We need to talk to you, please. You actually saw the knife man. Please give us a call.
Lucy Hargreaves was a 22-year-old mum with 3 kids on an estate in Walton in Liverpool. Nobody who knew her, the car together, or nobody who knew her can believe what happened to Lucy last month.
Get the petrol.
This is an appalling crime. Lucy, entirely innocent. There's absolutely no reason why anyone should target her. What kind of response have you had, Ian?
We've had a limited response, but we've had 2 anonymous calls who've named the people responsible, so I'm keen for them to get back in touch with us.
And that feeds into information you've already had, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It corroborates what we already suspect, but as I say, I'm anxious for those people to get in touch with us.
And one other person you want to hear from who made a call from a phone box that night.
That's right. That person has clearly witnessed the murder and knows who's responsible, and I would urge him to contact us tonight.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We've had some calls in relation to these 10 people that we need to come forward in relation to the murder of Michael Mackenzie in Peckham. It may be that what you've seen or heard you might think to be irrelevant, but the team really need to hear what you've seen. So please, please, if you recognise yourself, give us a call. You can call us here in the studio. Rav.
Do you remember the grey-haired robber, the guy that was robbing the bookmakers in Hatfield and Bourne End? We've had 10 names that have been put forward for that guy, so that's pretty good news. And as for the South London train robber, we've had 8 names for him, and 2 callers believe they've seen him very recently on local trains very close to where that attack, that brutal attack, took place. So that's looking good. And very quickly, they're showing it me to be quick, but I just want to tell you that Diana Mattis, the Jamaican drug dealer, we've had an alias name for her and contact details as well. Very helpful.
And by any reason, Joe Shipton was a bit odd. He kept his savings in the airing cupboard and his smalls in the fridge. But who would bludgeon such an eccentric to death?
All right. Now, if you win, I want a pint. But I want it back Monday. All right?
Thanks, Joe.
Now, he got a pretty limited response to this, not perhaps surprising, given that he lived such a secretive, private life. What information have you had, though, tonight?
We've had very limited information. One lady who says that she may have seen him with another lady in a wheelchair. But other than that, it really is very limited.
And the key thing is these 800 people who live in the village where he is and she. Someone's got a clue there.
I'm fairly certain that the answer to this is in the village, and I'd appeal to everybody in Shearing to look and give us a ring if they know anything.
OK, Sam, thanks very much indeed.
We've had more than 20 calls on our next case. Maurice Martin, who was a retired police officer who eventually died following a burglary at his home in Crowborough in East Sussex. He had a copper's eye for the guy who attacked him. Big bloke. Just tell us about the guy you've been looking for.
Yes, big chap, big round face, 6'2", very well built, 16 stone plus, possibly wearing glasses.
And waddled.
And had a very peculiar gait, yes.
Now, you've had 5 names put up for
We
this.
have indeed,
And
yes.
are you telling me some other local information that intrigues you?
There is some local information which we will obviously be following up after the programme.
And you were trying to find a white car, because when Maurice Martin came out, or at least when the burglar came out, there was a car running outside, a white Sunbeam of some description.
He's described it as a white Talbot Horizon or a Sunbeam.
And the burglar could easily have just got into it. Instead, this great big fat man socked an 80-year-old in the face.
Yes, quite unnecessary violence. He could have just walked past, but he chose to...
If anybody's got more information on this case, please give us a ring.
Well, you can find all tonight's cases on our website at bbc.co.uk/crime. And if you've been a victim of crime, the victim support line is 0845 30 30 900.
Crimewatch is back on Wednesday, the 21st of June, 1 month from now. From the team and all the investigating officers, from Fiona and from me, thank you for all your calls. Every month, we've got proof that they really do make a difference.
Do sleep well from all of us here.
Good night.
Good night.